If you're over 60 and you think eating fruit is always healthy, this video might be the most important thing you watch this week. Because here's something that most doctors don't have time to explain during a 15-minute appointment. Not all fruits are the same once your body crosses 60. Some fruits that were perfectly fine for you at 35 are now quietly working against you, spiking your blood sugar, feeding inflammation in your joints, accelerating memory loss, and making it significantly harder to maintain a healthy weight. And at the same time, there are 3 fruits, humble, affordable, sitting right in your grocery store, that actively fight back against the most dangerous things that happen to the human body after 60. We're talking about protecting your brain, reversing arterial stiffness, dropping visceral fat, and keeping your joints mobile without a single prescription. Here's the thing nobody tells you. After 60, your body processes sugar differently. Your insulin sensitivity drops. Your inflammatory pathways become hyperactive. Your gut microbiome shrinks in diversity. Your mitochondria, the tiny power plants inside every cell, start producing energy less efficiently. These are not opinions. These are documented, measurable biological changes that happen to every human body as it ages. And what you eat for breakfast, what you grab as a snack, what you think is healthy because it's fruit, it either works with those changes or against them. I'm Dr. John Chester, and one of the most consistent patterns I've seen is this. The people who age well aren't taking a dozen supplements. They're not doing extreme diets. But they are very intentional about what goes on their plate every single day. And fruit, something most people never question, is one of the biggest hidden factors I see getting people into trouble after 60. In this video, I'm going to tell you the 3 fruits you need to stop eating or dramatically reduce after 60, exactly why they're problematic at the biological level, and the 3 fruits you should be eating every single week that have genuine, peer-reviewed science behind their benefits for aging bodies. I'll also give you the exact amounts, the right timing, and the preparation mistakes that cancel out all the benefits before they ever reach your cells. Stay with me through the whole video, because the fruit most people think is the healthiest afternoon snack, it's on the avoid list. And the fruit most people overlook completely, it's one of the most powerful anti-aging foods on the planet. Before we get to the list, let me quickly explain what changes in your body after 60. Because once you understand this, the rest of the video will make complete sense. Change number 1. Insulin sensitivity drops. When you're young, your cells respond quickly and efficiently to insulin. You eat a piece of fruit, your blood sugar rises, insulin comes in, your cells absorb the sugar, and your blood sugar comes back down smoothly. After 60, this system slows down. Your cells don't respond to insulin as sharply, so when blood sugar rises, it stays elevated longer. Over time, these repeated spikes, even from natural fruit sugars, drive fat storage, inflammation, and eventually increase your risk of type 2 diabetes. Change number 2. Chronic inflammation becomes the default setting. In younger bodies, inflammation is a short-term response. You get injured, your body inflames, it heals, inflammation switches off. After 60, a condition researchers call inflammaging sets in. Your body stays in a low-grade inflammatory state almost permanently. And certain foods, even ones marketed as healthy, pour gasoline on that fire. Certain fruits are among them. Change number 3. Your gut microbiome loses diversity. Research shows that gut microbial diversity declines significantly with age. You have fewer beneficial bacteria producing anti-inflammatory compounds, fewer bacteria regulating your appetite hormones, and fewer bacteria protecting the lining of your intestines. The fruits you eat either feed the good bacteria that are left, or they feed the harmful ones. Change number 4. Your brain becomes more vulnerable. After 60, the blood-brain barrier, which acts like a security gate protecting your brain from harmful substances, becomes more permeable. Inflammatory compounds from food can reach brain tissue more easily, and the neurons in your brain become more sensitive to oxidative stress. This is why what you eat in your 60s has a direct and measurable impact on your cognitive function in your 70s and beyond. Keep these 4 changes in mind as we go through the list. Part 1. The 3 fruits you should never touch after 60. Fruit to avoid. Number 1. Watermelon. I know, you love watermelon. It's summer. It's refreshing. It feels like the healthiest thing in the world. It's mostly water, right? Here's the problem. Watermelon has one of the highest glycemic indexes of any fruit, sitting at around 72 on the glycemic index scale. For comparison, white bread sits at 70. What does that mean in plain English? When you eat watermelon, your blood sugar spikes almost as fast as if you've eaten a slice of white bread. Now, when you're 30, your body handles that spike quickly. But remember what we just talked about. After 60, insulin sensitivity is reduced. That spike takes longer to come down. And when blood sugar stays elevated repeatedly throughout the day, even from natural sources, it triggers a cascade of problems. More fat storage around your organs, more inflammatory signaling in your bloodstream, and increased glycation, a process where sugar molecules literally attach to your proteins and damage them, including the collagen in your skin, the proteins in your arteries, and the neurons in your brain. A study published in Diabetes Care found that repeated postprandial glucose spikes, the kind that happen after eating high glycemic foods, was significantly associated with increased oxidative stress and cardiovascular risk in adults over 60, independent of fasting glucose levels. What makes watermelon even trickier is that most people eat it in large portions, a couple of slices, a bowl. And because it tastes mostly like water with a little sweetness, it doesn't trigger the satiety signals that other foods do. So you eat more than you intend, and your blood sugar gets a much bigger hit than you realize. If you love the hydration and refreshing quality of watermelon, swap it for cucumber with a squeeze of lime. You get the hydration with almost zero glycemic impact. Fruit to avoid number 2, grapes. Grapes feel innocent. They're small. You just pop a few. But this is exactly why they're dangerous for people over 60. Grapes are extremely high in fructose, the type of sugar that bypasses normal blood sugar regulation and goes directly to your liver. Unlike glucose, which every cell in your body can use for energy, fructose is metabolized almost exclusively in the liver. And when you overwhelm your liver with fructose repeatedly, which happens very easily because grapes are so easy to overeat, your liver starts converting that excess fructose into fat. This process, called de novo lipogenesis, is directly linked to the development of non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, elevated triglycerides, and visceral fat accumulation. And visceral fat, the fat that wraps around your organs, is not just a cosmetic problem. It secretes inflammatory compounds called cytokines that drive heart disease, insulin resistance, and cognitive decline. A landmark study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that excess fructose consumption was independently associated with increased triglyceride levels and liver fat deposition. And the risk was significantly amplified in older adults because liver function naturally declines with age. There's also another issue specific to people over 60 that almost nobody talks about: grapes. Particularly grape juice and large quantities of whole grapes can interfere with certain common medications. Blood thinners, cholesterol medications, and some blood pressure drugs are all on the list. The compounds in grapes can affect the enzymes your body uses to metabolize these drugs, making them either too strong or too weak in your system. If you enjoy grapes occasionally, limit yourself to a small handful, no more than 10 to 12 grapes, and always eat them with a source of protein or fat to slow the fructose absorption. But ideally, after 60, grapes should be an occasional treat, not a daily snack. Fruit to avoid number 3, mango. This one surprises people the most. Mango is often marketed as a superfood. It's tropical, it's vibrant, it's loaded with vitamins. And while that's true, the sugar content of mango makes it one of the most problematic fruits for people over 60. A single medium-sized mango contains roughly 45 to 50 grams of sugar. That's more sugar than a can of Coca-Cola. Yes, one mango. And unlike the refined sugar in soda that most people know to avoid, the natural sugar in mango comes with a health halo that makes people dramatically underestimate how much they're consuming. The glycemic load of mango, which accounts for both the glycemic index and the portion size you'd realistically eat, is very high. And for someone over 60 with reduced insulin sensitivity, this means a significant blood sugar spike with every serving. There's also a specific concern around mango and inflammation that's not widely discussed. Mangoes contain relatively high levels of advanced glycation end products when cooked or processed. These are compounds that directly drive the inflammaging process we talked about earlier. When you add that to the blood sugar spike, you've got a double hit on your inflammatory system. Beyond blood sugar, the sheer caloric density of a full mango, around 200 calories, almost entirely from sugar, makes weight management significantly harder for older adults who are already dealing with a slower metabolism and reduced muscle mass. Now, small portions of mango, about a quarter cup, are unlikely to cause serious harm occasionally. But the problem is that almost nobody eats a quarter cup of mango. People eat half a mango, a full mango, a large bowl of it at a buffet. And at that level, for a body over 60, you are doing measurable metabolic harm. Part 2. The 3 fruits you must eat after 60. Now here's where it gets exciting. Because just like certain fruits actively work against your aging body, there are 3 fruits that actively work with it, protecting your brain, reducing inflammation, improving your gut health, supporting your heart, and helping your body maintain a healthy weight without deprivation. Fruit you must eat number 1. Blueberries. If I could only recommend one food for every person over 60 on the planet, it would be blueberries. And I don't say that lightly. Here's what's happening in your brain right now if you're over 60. A protein called BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is essentially your brain's fertilizer, the compound that helps your neurons grow, connect, and repair themselves, is declining. Lower BDNF is directly linked to memory loss, cognitive decline, depression, and increased risk of Alzheimer's disease. Blueberries contain a class of compounds called anthocyanins, the pigments that give them their deep blue-purple color. And these anthocyanins do something remarkable. They cross the blood-brain barrier, the security gate we talked about earlier, and they directly increase BDNF production in the hippocampus, which is the part of your brain responsible for forming new memories. A landmark clinical trial published in the Annals of Neurology followed adults over 70 for years and found that those who ate the most blueberries and strawberries had significantly slower rates of cognitive decline, equivalent to their brains being 2.5 years younger than their peers who ate little to no berries. 2.5 years from fruit. But blueberries don't stop at your brain. The same anthocyanins that protect your neurons also have a profound effect on your cardiovascular system. They inhibit a specific enzyme called ACE, angiotensin-converting enzyme, which is the same enzyme that many blood pressure medications target. Regular blueberry consumption has been shown to reduce systolic blood pressure by 4 to 6 points in adults over 60. A study published in the Journal of the Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics found that post-menopausal women who consumed 1 cup of blueberries daily for 8 weeks showed significant reductions in blood pressure and arterial stiffness, 2 of the most dangerous cardiovascular changes that happen with age. And here's the glycemic piece, because I know you're thinking about it after the first section. Blueberries have a glycemic index of just 53 and a very low glycemic load because of their fiber content. That fiber slows the absorption of the natural sugars dramatically, so you get all the benefits without the blood sugar spike. How to eat them? Half a cup to 1 cup daily, fresh or frozen. Frozen blueberries retain essentially all of their anthocyanin content and are often cheaper and more accessible year-round. Add them to plain Greek yogurt in the morning, blend them into a smoothie, or simply eat them as a snack. Do not add sugar. Do not cook them into a jam or syrup. Heat degrades the anthocyanins. Eat them raw or gently thawed. Fruit you must eat number 2. Avocado. Yes, avocado is a fruit. Botanically speaking, it's a berry, and it is one of the most powerful foods for the aging body on the planet. Here's the key reason avocado is different from every other fruit. It contains almost no sugar. Its primary macronutrient is fat, specifically monounsaturated fat in the form of oleic acid, the same compound found in extra virgin olive oil that is responsible for the cardiovascular benefits of the Mediterranean diet. After 60, your body needs dietary fat more than most people realize. Your brain is 60% fat by dry weight. Your hormones, including the sex hormones that regulate mood, energy, bone density, and muscle maintenance, are manufactured from fat. The myelin sheath that insulates your nerve fibers and allows electrical signals to travel efficiently through your nervous system is made from fat. When people over 60 go on extremely low-fat diets, they often experience increased brain fog, hormonal disruption, and accelerated muscle loss. Avocado's oleic acid specifically has been shown in multiple studies to activate anti-inflammatory pathways in your body. A study published in the journal Nutrients found that daily avocado consumption significantly reduced levels of LDL oxidation. Oxidized LDL is the dangerous form of cholesterol that actually sticks to artery walls and causes plaques, while increasing HDL, the protective cholesterol. But avocado's benefits for people over 60 go beyond fat. One medium avocado contains about 10 grams of fiber, more fiber per serving than almost any other fruit, and it's primarily soluble fiber, the kind that feeds your beneficial gut bacteria and produces short-chain fatty acids like butyrate that protect your intestinal lining and regulate your appetite hormones. A clinical study from Loma Linda University found that adults who ate 1 avocado per day showed significantly increased populations of beneficial gut bacteria compared to those who ate a calorie-matched diet without avocado. The gut microbiome diversity, which we know declines with age, actually improved. Avocado is also extraordinarily rich in potassium, containing more potassium per gram than bananas, which most people think of as the potassium king. Potassium is critical after 60 because it directly counteracts the effects of sodium on blood pressure, reduces muscle cramps, and supports healthy kidney function. And there's one more benefit that almost nobody talks about. Avocado dramatically improves the absorption of fat-soluble nutrients from other foods you eat alongside it. Vitamins A, D, E, and K, all of which are critical for bone health, immune function, and cognitive performance, require dietary fat to be absorbed. When researchers measured how much beta-carotene people absorbed from salads eaten with and without avocado, absorption increased by up to 15 times with avocado present. How to eat it. Half an avocado to 1 whole avocado daily. Add it to salads. Spread it on whole grain toast. Add it to smoothies for creaminess without any sugar, or simply eat it with a pinch of salt and a squeeze of lemon. Don't cook it at high heat. Use it raw or added at the end of cooking. The monounsaturated fats are stable at moderate heat, but degrade at very high temperatures. Fruit you must eat number 3. Tart cherries. This one surprises most people. Not sweet cherries, not cherry-flavored anything. Specifically, tart cherries, the kind also called Montmorency cherries, and they are arguably the most underrated anti-aging fruit in existence. Here's the problem they solve. After 60, 2 things happen that steal your quality of life more than almost anything else. Your sleep quality declines, and your joint inflammation increases. Most people accept both of these as inevitable. They take sleeping pills, they take anti-inflammatories, they manage. But tart cherries address both of these problems at the root level through completely natural biological mechanisms. Let's start with sleep. Tart cherries are one of the very few food sources of melatonin, the hormone your brain uses to regulate your sleep-wake cycle. As you age, melatonin production declines significantly. This is a primary reason why so many people over 60 struggle to fall asleep, stay asleep, or feel genuinely rested. A study published in the European Journal of Nutrition found that adults who drank tart cherry juice twice daily for 1 week experienced significant increases in sleep duration and sleep efficiency. They slept on average 84 minutes longer per night compared to a placebo group. That's not a subtle effect. That's a life-changing result from fruit. But the melatonin in tart cherries does something else that regular melatonin supplements don't. It comes packaged with a compound called proanthocyanidins and anthocyanins that have powerful antioxidant properties. And melatonin itself, when consumed in its natural food matrix alongside these antioxidants, functions as a potent neuroprotective agent, meaning it actively protects brain cells from the oxidative damage that drives dementia and cognitive decline. Now let's talk about joints. Tart cherries contain among the highest concentrations of anthocyanins of any food, and these anthocyanins directly inhibit two inflammatory enzymes called COX-1 and COX-2. These are the same enzymes that ibuprofen and naproxen inhibit. Tart cherries work through the same biological pathway as over-the-counter anti-inflammatory drugs, without the side effects that those drugs cause in older adults, including gastrointestinal bleeding, kidney damage, and increased cardiovascular risk. A study from Oregon Health and Science University found that marathon runners who drank tart cherry juice before and after a race experienced significantly less muscle pain and inflammation compared to the placebo group. And a separate study in adults with osteoarthritis, which affects over 32% of people over 60, found that drinking tart cherry juice for 6 weeks produced significant reductions in pain markers and inflammatory proteins in the blood. There's one more mechanism that makes tart cherries especially valuable after 60. They lower uric acid. Elevated uric acid is the driver of gout, one of the most agonizing joint conditions that disproportionately affects older adults. A study published in Arthritis and Rheumatism found that tart cherry consumption was associated with a 35% reduction in gout attacks. That's extraordinary. How to eat them? 1 cup of fresh or frozen tart cherries daily, or 8 ounces of 100% tart cherry juice. Make sure there's no added sugar. Drink it about 30 to 60 minutes before bed to maximize the sleep-promoting effects of the melatonin. If using juice, look specifically for Montmorency tart cherry juice. Sweet cherry juice is a completely different product with far fewer of these compounds. You can also find freeze-dried tart cherry powder and add a tablespoon to a smoothie or yogurt. Your 60s, 70s, and 80s can be some of the best decades of your life. The decisions you make at your next meal matter more than you think. If this video gave you something useful, please share it with someone over 60 who's trying to make better choices. And subscribe if you want more of this real, evidence-based information about how to live better as you age. The links to my videos on inflammation and metabolic health are right here on screen. I'll see you in the next one.